Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, let's talk about all the books that I need to read before the end of the year. I've had a really good reading year so far in terms of both quality and quantity. I've found a lot of new favorites. I have several books on my TBR that I haven't gotten to yet that I was really hoping to at least have started before the end of the year, and I really would love to get to these. Two big caveats here. One, I am moving. I am moving across states, so I will not be buying myself a significant number of new books. So all of the books that I'm going to talk about today, I own and need to get off of my physical TBR. The second caveat is I am trying not to put too much pressure on myself. So while I say I need to read these before the end of the year, if I don't get to them, I'm not going to be hard on myself for it. I'm going to do the best I can, get to as many of these as I can. But at the end of the day, reading is fun. It is a hobby for me. So I'm going to keep it that way and not put too much pressure on myself. Before we go any further though, I would love to thank this video's sponsor, Book of the Month, who I absolutely love working with. If you've watched my channel before, you probably know what Book of the Month is, but if you somehow don't, Book of the Month is a monthly book subscription where every month the Book of the Month team goes through hundreds of new release books and selects 5 to 7 for you to choose from. And they're always a variety of different genres. They're always brand new releases or sometimes early releases. They're always hardcovers. And what's so fantastic about Book of the Month is your first box, if you use the code SIZZLE, is only $9.99. So that is for a brand new release hardcover, which is a price you really can't get anywhere else. And if you ever don't like the selections for that month, you can always skip with no charge whatsoever, no risk, or you can select a book from their backlist and go through previous month's books or add-on books and choose one from there as well. So really, you can't go wrong with a Book of the Month subscription. So the 2 books that I selected for this month, I'm really excited about. I had not heard of either of these, and then when I saw the descriptions for them, I was so intrigued. My selections are Small Angels by Lauren Owen. This is a dark gothic magical realism, light fantasy, if you will. It says, in a hypnotic tale of sisterhood, first love, and hauntings, a wedding in a small English village stirs up unsettling magic and forces a troubled family's secrets out into the open. I just thought it sounded so atmospheric. I love when they have some fantasy in their selections, so I had to pick this one. And then I also picked another one that sounded fantastic, and it is Bronze Drum by Phong Nguyen. And this one says it follows 2 noble daughters in ancient Vietnam who fill their days by training, studying, and trying to stay true to Vietnamese traditions. Bronze Drum is based on the true story of the Trung sisters, shared down through generations for thousands of years about these warriors and champions of women and Vietnam who heralded a new period of freedom and independence. How good does that sound? So I'm really excited about both of these. And then if you didn't already know, Book of the Month has started a podcast that you can listen to for free on Apple and Spotify. I will link the information for it down below, as well as the promo code SIZZLE that you can use to get that first book for $9.99. Thank you so much to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video, and let's get to talking about the books I need to read by the end of the year. So I'm going to try to break this out into categories. The first category being sequels. I have prioritized really making sure to get through open series that I had on my TBR, because I have noticed that if I wait too long between books in series, I really start to forget a lot of details. And so I've really been trying to read series quicker, and I've been having a lot of luck with it. So the couple of sequels that I definitely need to get to before the end of the year would include Hogfather by Terry Pratchett. This is the 4th book in the Discworld Death Collection, and I've purposely been putting this one off because I'm waiting to read it in December around Christmas time, because if you didn't know, Hogfather is following death as a main character, and in Hogfather, he takes on the role of Santa Claus. So how much fun does that sound? I can't wait to have this book to read in December. I also definitely want to get to House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas, and I was going to get to this one right when it was released, but I heard so many mixed reviews, particularly from my friends Joshana and Roger from Roger's Reads. Both of their channels I will link down below. They're fantastic, and they both hated this book and have made me so nervous to read it. And it's quite a large book, so hearing such vitriolic hatred for this book really kind of lessened the priority for it. So I've kind of been putting it off, but I do want to read it before the end of the year to kind of form my own conclusion, because I've heard a lot of people still really enjoyed it, and I've heard that the ending is like, oh my gosh, people cannot stop talking about the ending. So I'm curious enough to still read it and see what I think. I also need to finish Perseplicus, which is the 6th and final book in the Rhaeria Revelations by Michael J. Sullivan. I love this world that Michael J. Sullivan has created. Legends of the First Empire is my favorite series, hands down, of all time, and I'm really, really enjoying Rhaeria Revelations. I actually just read Wintertide, and I'll be talking more about it in my upcoming recent reads wrap-up, but I really loved it. It was my favorite so far of the Revelations, so I'm very excited to see how this one ends, because the ending for Legends of the First Empire was fantastic. So I know Michael J. Sullivan can stick the landing. So I have high hopes for Perseplicus. Hopefully I love it. I also need to read Wondersmith by Jessica Townsend. This is another one that I own. And I read Nevermore earlier this year, and I enjoyed it. I didn't love it as much as I was expecting to, but I still really enjoyed it. It was a ton of fun, very whimsical, very much like a perfect, cozy, middle grade fantasy read. And so I'm excited to see where the sequel goes, especially with some of the twists at the end that were very fun to follow. I'm curious to see where our main character of Morgan Crow goes from here. And then the last sequel that I own that I need to get to is The Blind King's Wrath by Ashok K. Banker. So this is the 3rd and final book in the Burnt Empire saga, which books 1 and 2 I really, really enjoyed. I thought the writing was spectacular. The world building was so fresh and unique and unlike anything else I've read before. So I'm very excited to finish out this trilogy. I think originally it was supposed to be a lot more books than this, so I'm a little bit bummed that we're not getting as much as I think the author originally intended us to get from this world and this series, but nonetheless, I'm still very excited to see how it wraps up. That is the last of the sequels that I actually own that I need to get to. There are a couple that I don't own, either because they haven't come out yet, or I am kind of putting myself on a book buying ban because of the move, so I haven't purchased yet. So I'm just gonna leave it at that for sequels and say those are the ones I really need to get to. Now let's get to the new release category, which is another one that I did a most anticipated 2022 releases video at the very beginning of the year, and I kept that list quite small because it was a list that I really wanted to read all of those books that I mentioned. There were a couple that I think came out earlier than I had thought or got pushed back, so that list has changed a little bit, but the anticipated releases that I would still really, really love to get to that I own are Upgrade by Blake Crouch. That is one that I got from Book of the Month. Woo, Book of the Month, yay. And I definitely need to get to. My husband's actually reading it right now, so we're kind of doing like a buddy read of it, so I'm gonna read it right after he's done. But I'm really excited to get to that one because I really enjoy Blake Crouch's books every time I read them. And then the other one that I don't own yet, but I basically own, is Babel by R.F. Kuang, because it's coming in all of like the subscription boxes, and I'm subscribed to Fairy Loot, and yes, so I know I'm going to be getting Babel, but I'm very, very excited. I've heard amazing, amazing early reviews for this one, so yes, definitely still prioritizing. The other anticipated releases that I had mentioned on that video that I haven't read yet, I don't own yet. So I'm going to kind of keep it just at those two for new releases that I really need to read before the end of the year, because I again am putting myself on a book buying ban until I move to my new house. The third and final category is just miscellaneous, like other books that I've had on my TBR for so long, or I'm just like so in the mood to read these or what have you. So just miscellaneous category. The first one being Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. Oh my gosh, I have been saying I was going to read this book for so long now. It's been on some TBRs. It was one of the series that I had to start this year that I mentioned at the very beginning of the year, and I still haven't done it. I need to get to it. I don't think I have to explain this series. Same with The Coward and The Warrior by Stephen Aryan. These were both books that were sent to me by Angry Robot, and I am so excited to read this duology. I've heard great things. I've heard it's like a fun, classic feeling fantasy, and I feel like I'm really gonna have a good time with it. I've just been in such a fantasy slump because of work that I'm really hoping that I get out of that fantasy slump soon and work calms down, because I would love to sink my teeth into this one. I'm also going to mention Rise of the Mages by Scott Drakeford. This is another one that the author so kindly reached out and asked if I was interested in receiving this to read it, and I said yes because it sounded really good. So this is another epic fantasy story that I really, really would love to give a try because I've been hearing some buzz about it and it sounds really good. Finally, those are kind of the like most essential books that I would really love to get to. But I did do a video at the beginning of the year that was like series I need to start this year. And it was 10 series total, and 5 of those I already tried and either DNF'd or finished or I'm in the middle of. 5 of them I have not yet. Assassin's Apprentice being one of them. We've already talked about that. I definitely need to get to that one. But the other 4, these are gonna be like if I have time, I would be super, super happy if I were to get to these. So the 5 are Time of Dread by John Gwynne. This is the second series in the Banished Lands world, which started with Malice by John Gwynne, because The Faithful and the Fallen is like one of my favorite fantasy series of all time. I will read anything John Gwynne writes, and I'm just so excited to be back in this world. I know we're following new characters, so I'm very excited to dive into this. I just need to get the time to do it. The second one is City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty, which I feel like I am definitely behind on. This one is very hyped and very popular and very beloved. I know so many people who love this series, so I definitely want to get to City of Brass. It sounds like one I could really, really love, as well as Traitor's Blade by Sebastian de Castell. This was another one that I know my friend Alan from the Library of Alexandria, this is one of his favorites. I know Erin from Booked and Busy, she really liked this one. So I have a feeling I'm gonna really enjoy it. Now, I've heard some not so great things about it as well, but I've heard that, you know, some people love it, and it sounds like a good time. It sounds like a swashbuckling adventure fantasy. So I would love to get to that one. And then finally, The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams, which if you've heard of this book, you've probably heard it from the same channel that I heard it from, which is Elliot Brooks. She loves this series. It's one of her favorites of all time. She thinks I would absolutely love it. I probably would. I trust her recommendations. She knows my taste pretty darn well. So I'm totally trusting her on this one. I think I'm gonna love it from what she said about it. So that was the other one that was on my list that I haven't gotten to yet. In conclusion, I need to finish Rhaeria Revelations with Perseplicus, the Burnt Empire Saga with the Blind King's Wrath, continue in the Nevermore series with Wondersmith, continue in the Discworld Death Collection with Hogfather, continue with Crescent City with House of Sky and Breath, and then I need to start Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, Ninth Reign by Jen Williams, A Time of Dread by John Gwynne, Traitor's Blade by Sebastian de Castell, and City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty, and then I also need to get to Upgrade and Babel. Rise of the Mages and The Coward and the Warrior by Stephen Aryan. 15 books. 15 books is not bad. I should absolutely be able to do that. The problem is I get distracted by shiny new books. I get distracted by other books I'm in the mood for. So I just need to buckle down and hopefully get out of this fantasy reading slump and get to it, because I have a feeling that some of these on this list could become all-time favorites if I get the chance to read them. So of those that I have featured in this video, Are there any that you have read? What did you think of them? Let me know in the comments down below. Which ones do you think I should prioritize? I would love to hear from you all. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye.